knee, while the fingertips seduced it. The nails flayed off the kneecap. And though the scab was uprooted, bloody and sore, it posed like the beloved maiden in the palm of her hand, where it was caressed again, adored by her eyes, yearned by her saliva, suckled by her tongue, momentarily teased by her lightning desire. After having sucked and nibbled and kneaded it, she spit it out, stepped on it with her big toe, then picked it up and flicked it in the sink. She turned on the faucet and flushed it down the drain. Detached from her roots and whims, she restlessly searched for another star, another match to light a fire under her kettle of yearnings, a concrete, objective goal, a grain of sand to roll between her fingertips, a warm breadcrumb where she could stop to think for a moment, or sleep in the tenderness of what she touches. In doing so, somewhat obsessively, her breathing began to sound like the breathing of a wary animal, and its caution, deliberately slow and deep, began to sound like the breathing of a surgeon about to make the first incision. She gently placed the bloody wound in her mouth, the blister's sheath in her mouth, and played with all the different textures she found on her body. The snot and crud from her eyes were her dolls and toys, and she played hide and seek and stuck them to different parts of her body like a stamp collector, all while listening to slow and deliberate music, while feeling some deep desire to push out, to breathe in, to breathe out, in and out, in and out. There she was, excavating a cave with the knuckles of her forefingers pressing against a hole, when slowly out wriggled the profile of a white worm. She pressed her knuckles harder against the irritated skin once more, twice more, until a blackhead emerged. Nice start, but there was much more lava bubbling inside. Another squeeze, a little pus and blood, the volcano erupting, but it wasn't the blood she was after. No, blood alone wouldn't do it. All the pus had to be drained, the pollen, the whole worm had to come out, alive and kicking. The first attempt was too abrupt. She had to steady the squeeze, hold the pressure, smother the little hole, suffocate it, bust it open, spread it wide, leave it empty of water, thorn, and blood, shiny and clean. Having spread its legs, it was cornered and kicking on one side of the pore where it defended its cavern, which was attacked from all sides by cannons and rifles. But the more it was attacked, the more it resisted, burrowing deeper and deeper into the walls of the pore, showing no sign it would ever surrender or accept defeat. It had become part of her flesh. It had lived in plenty of other pores around the wings of her nostrils, and had sealed them all with blackheads. But it was only here, in this little hole, that it had felt at home. Yes, it was a cave-dwelling nomad, but right here, in this little hole, it had settled down, incognito. It had tried to keep a low profile, having learned its lesson from other places, having been ousted for wanting to shine bright and sunny, for pretending to be a thorn, for being light. But now it was hiding its crest, hiding its misery, its bitterness. At first she thought it was a mole, until she noticed the edge, the crest, and squeezed it furiously because she had been fooled. She wet the open pore with some water. This time it won't get away. She would force it out against its will with her firm and steady fists. It would have to come out with its hands up. It would have to surrender its wounds, bulges, bags, and all its goods. And so it did. Out came its neck, then its hands, its legs. The belly was enormous, gigantic. It was perfect. Plackety-plackety-plack, plack, plack. That's how it emerged, and surrendered itself whole, looking shiny and greasy on the swollen tip of her nose. There it was, bug-eyed and nosy, probably trying to snoop on the blackhead. It puffed itself up. It looked like a fly. Yes, like a fly about to fly. It crawled around the circumference of the dimple like a tick, and ate meat, and was swarmed by ants, speckles of freckles. As we all know, wherever you find meat, you find pesky critters. She looked closer. Oh, yes, it's you, a queer bug, queer indeed. How'd you pick it up? She loosened it with her finger.